Well, good morning to my classmates and good morning to Dr. Goldstein. I hope everyone is having a pretty good Sunday so far. I wanted to make my presentation on sleeping disorders. The reason because is I can definitely relate to the sleeping disorders. I've always had trouble sleeping, um, more as an adult more than anything, and I know that I've had to overcome these problems by, with stress, of course, and anxiety are my biggest triggers. So it definitely prevented me to get, the quality of sleep that I definitely need during the night. And it definitely affected my performance, either at work or if I'm out at a social gathering. So we're going to go more into this, right, starting now. So sleep disorders, they vary by type, cause, and underlying physiology. All sleep disorders directly contribute to poor sleep quality, shortened sleep time, and or impaired wakefulness. And that's according to Thorpe in the article that he contributed to back in 2000. A sleep disorder is a health disorder of the sleep patterns of a person or animal. Some sleep issues are severe enough to interject with normal physical, mental, and social emotional processing. Disruptions in sleep can be caused by a variety of issues from teeth grinding to night terrors. When a person suffers from difficulty falling asleep and or staying asleep with no obvious cause, it is referred to as insomnia. So how exactly are they categorized? Sleep disorders have traditionally been categorized as dysomnias, parasomnias, and secondary sleep phenomena. And that's according to the text that that has been assigned to us in week 7. So I wanted to go and just break down, what are the difference between the three. So parasomnias include disorders sorted by an undesirable physical phenomena that starts during sleep. Secondary sleep phenomena are attributed to a primary non-sleep disorder which donates to impaired sleep quality, quantity, or impaired wakefulness. Dysomnias are broad categories, sleep disorders characterized by either hypersomnia or insomnia. The three major subcategories include intrinsic, extrinsic, and disturbances of circadian rhythm. So, the common sleep disorders. Of course, we have insomnia, which is the most common and prevalent amongst adults, children, adolescents. And then you have sleep apnea, narcolepsy with cataplexy, and sleep paralysis. I only did insomnia just simply because insomnia is the most prevalent. Um, and I wanted to go further, and I wanted to be more specific with insomnia. So insomnia is the most prevalent sleeping disorder, like I did mention, amongst adults. I should have said children and adolescents as well, but insomnia is a sleeping disorder in which the individual has severe difficulty falling asleep or maintaining sleep. Of course, insomnia does not, well, it does lead to poor sleep quality and could lead to many disastrous health mishaps in the future if it is not treated. So here are some facts. I just wanted to add some facts to the presentation that I didn't know about when it came to insomnia. Insomnia may be the most prevalent in adults, but people over the age of 65 are more affected much often than younger people, which I didn't have any idea about that. Of course, I thought people my adults my age and younger, they would be more subject to insomnia, but it seems like older people are. So I guess that the older that you get, the more insomnia likely may occur. So that's something that really caught my eye, and I just think I just had to include that in the presentation. And also, it seems like, according to a study in 2009, women are also more affected than men when it comes to insomnia. It seems like women have it the most; they suffer from it the most. And that also caught my eye. It just seems like women may be going through a lot of events in their life where um, that can definitely affect their quality of sleep. And I definitely want to go back. Just if I have any spare time, I want to also just research that because that seems that's very interesting to me. So individuals who travel through different time zones are more likely to suffer from insomnia. I guess when it comes to people with those huge responsibilities in their professions, whether they have to travel, and they can definitely you know lower their sleep, and they may have troubles with developing their sleeping patterns again. So that was a given. So prevention and treatment for insomnia. Now, altogether, I have slides later in the presentation that does talk about treatment, but I want to just um, definitely cover the treatment for insomnia, which is just going to sleep, waking up at the same time every day can create a steady pattern, which may help to prevent or treat insomnia. So I mean, I really do agree with this because, of course, the reason why I did choose sleeping disorders is because I do have trouble with my sleeping, and just practicing and just maintaining, you know, that sleep and just creating a whole environment where you can sleep, better at night is also um, a good thing to do. So the risks of sleeping disorders. A systematic review um, in a article that was produced by Quadrupeda in 2015. It just found a traumatic childhood experience, things such as family conflict or sexual trauma, significantly increases the risk for a number of sleep disorders in adulthood, including sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and insomnia. So that's the other disorders that I did list, but I didn't go over sleep apnea and narcolepsy that can also be undeveloped, after conflict or sexual trauma. Some possible alcohol or drug use could also increase the risk for sleep disorders. Whether it's most found in children or adults is actually unknown at this time. So all age groups have a certain set of behaviorally based sleeping disorders, and that's according to Blunden in an article that um, he produced in 2012. Sleep disorders are a common problem among children beginning school and may be associated with both impaired school performance and behavioral difficulties. Common causes of sleeping disorders for children also include emotional and physical disturbances, nightmares, and possibly the child's leisure activities. So if they're staying up at night watching TV or playing video games when they're supposed to be sleeping, they can definitely cause them to have sleeping disorders down the road. And also, the illnesses, allergies, and overall family stress leads to sleeping disorders amongst children. So sleep disturbances are more common among children and adolescents with comorbid attention deficit hyperactivity, which is ADHD. Some children with ADHD may have sleep onset insomnia. Others may have predilection for delayed sleep onset. Clinical review of data indicates that 30% of children with ADHD and 60 to 80% of adults with ADHD have symptoms of sleep disorders including daytime sleepiness, insomnia, delayed sleep phase syndrome, fractured sleep, restless leg syndrome, and sleep disordered breathing. These data indicate that sleep problems likely persist into adulthood. Now, for example, I just wanted to definitely support the fact that's posted here on the presentation. So basically, I just wanted to add that, of course, with my job, I have to interview different claimants that do allege that their children, um, have ADHD, and it does. They always include that they do have trouble sleeping after being diagnosed. The symptoms keep them up at night, and then in the day and when they're at school, it affects their performance, and they have to be in these individualized education programs at school, which is IEPs. So that's another thing about that. So I actually wanted to just break it down. I wanted to go from children, then I want to go to adolescence. I wanted to be as detailed and more specific as possible in this presentation. So I wanted to go talk about the causes of sleep disorders in adolescence. So sleep problems in adolescence are recognized as an international public health concern, and that's according to the American Academy of Pediatrics back in 2014, and another individual review in 2011. Strictly defining sleep in terms of duration, approximately 60% of middle school students in the United States sleep less than a recommended 9 hours per night on school nights, and this figure rises to 87.5% among ninth grade students and to 95 by the end of high school. So maybe high school seniors may, they may be, exposed to this. So I wanted to just go a little bit more with adolescence. So there are many psychosocial factors that can influence sleep patterns. Family, peer, and academic and mental health problems can also alter change the quality of sleep for an adolescent. In addition, parenting setting may be important for fostering adolescent sleep. Adolescents with parents set bedtimes have earlier bedtimes and obtain more nighttime sleep, and also experience less fatigue and improve daytime functioning. So I guess that's why growing up as a kid, I I did well because my parents they were really um, they were really adamant that I got my 9 hours of sleep, so I could be up and ready for school, and I wouldn't have these academic problems. Um, so that's something that I would definitely have to thank them for. But kind of pressed for time, so I just wanted to go a little bit more into adults before time runs out. So stress and anxiety are other causes of sleeping disorders for adults. People who work, adults who work night shifts are more likely to have sleeping disorders. Just to sum it all up, of course, there are several reasons why people suffer from sleeping disorders. Children that experience trauma, mental illnesses among children and adults, and they may have biologically, social, psychosocially and socially factors that may, lead them to having treatment. CBT treatment is one. It focuses on changing beliefs and attitude about sleep. And then, of course, they have other sleep practices that may be more effective and that can help them sleep in the future. Set a reminder on your phone. Drink tea. Have different teas that you can drink over the, Z-Quil, things of that nature that you can take. Make sure your bed is comfortable. And here's a summary. Thank you for this presentation.